Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Filmocity podcast. Today we are talking about Borat 2 or Borat subsequent movie film delivery of prodigious bride to American regime for make benefit once glorious nation of Kazakhstan.
That's just name. One title. It changes like 4 times during the movie.
Yeah. Alright, so this is
Shaden, shut up.
Sequel to the 2006 film Borat. So it's been, what's that, like 14 years?
14 years.
And 14. The story is basically that since the first film came out, Borat has become famous in America, and the documentary has brought all kinds of shame to Kazakhstan. So he's been in like a prison labor camp this whole time, and now he's been...
coal mining.
Yeah. And now he has gotten a mission to deliver a monkey to President McDonald Trump to try to restore some, the glory of Kazakhstan again. So that's basically the story of Borat 2.
It's funny because you forget all about that.
Yeah. So what did you guys think of Borat 2?
Shaden, what did you think?
Compared to the first one, it wasn't as good, but it was still had the same charm, the same comedy. Sacha Baron Cohen was still just as good as he is usually in most of his films. So, yeah, it was all good. The inclusion of Maria Bakalova into this the film was actually probably the best part, in my opinion.
She did amazing.
Was literally the best thing about the whole film. When they actually made her look like how she looks in real life, it was the weirdest fucking thing because. The start of the film, I guess that's props to the makeup and costume team, but she did not look.
A different person, eh?
Yeah, exactly. I thought they actually changed the actors, so it was a GG. Yeah.
That's why it's believable and people didn't know who she was. But also, I mean, she wasn't a big time actress anyway, so.
Well, that was her first film, wasn't it?
Her first international film. Oh. Everything else she's done is local to her in Belgium, wherever she's from.
Oh, she's from Belgium.
Bulgaria, sorry, not Belgium, yeah. Bulgaria. Anyway, I like the film, definitely not as much as number one, like Shaden said, but that's just because, well, back in 2006, nobody made these kind of movies. Nobody was doing like pranks on YouTube. It's become such a common genre. Niche. Yeah, it was really niche, but now everybody's doing it. You know, like people dedicate YouTube channels to, in quotations, pranking people, and then half the time it ends up just being fake. So, you know, with something like Borat, he can't just walk out on the street and expect people to believe that he's an idiot. Even if people didn't know who he was, people would question it, be like, oh, where's the cameras? Ah, ha, ha.
Yeah.
I'm on film, aren't I? You know?
And you definitely see that in the second.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I thought it was pretty funny when it was like one of the earlier scenes when he just got to the USA and people kept chasing him around, and it's when he went for his disguise. That was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a good cover up, hey?
Yeah.
Borat, can I get a picture? No picture. It's not me. I'm not Borat.
If you don't know, Jacob dressed as Borat for Halloween, so
I don't think anyone knows that.
He does a pretty good job. Well, I mean, I'm assuming most people listening to this podcast also know who we are in person.
Jak Sie Masz. I think Maria Bakalova did a freaking great job. She was such a believable character. Like, I think more people probably fell for what she was doing more than what Sasha was doing, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Her stuff was a bit more innocent, I guess, and a bit more childlike, so people would believe, I guess, this 15-year-old would do these kind of silly things, like, you know, want to learn what an orgasm is and stuff. I think this was definitely a quality film, worth the watch, and I did enjoy it, but if I had to pick one or two, I would definitely pick one, purely for its originality, I guess.
Yeah.
What about you,
I feel like the delivery was also better, though.
I definitely enjoyed it. When I watched the second one, I watched it with some of my mates, and we watched the first one in the morning, had like Uber Eats, and then watched the second one. So we got to kind of see the comparison like right then and there. I definitely did enjoy the first one. It was super like uncomfortable to watch, but obviously like that's the vibe, because you don't want to be sitting there being like, oh, what a lovely film. Like you're there to like
2006.
Yeah, you're there to feel like tense and be like, oh fuck, I can't believe he's done this, and like, you know,
I can't believe he's done this.
Oh fuck. Yeah, and
running around the hotel freaking naked. You couldn't get away with that these days. You get arrested.
Funny. I was one of my friends I was with. She was so uncomfortable during that scene. I thought it was hilarious. I'm also just in love with Sacha Baron Cohen. I think he's so fucking funny.
He's a clown. He's a genuine clown.
Yeah, he's so cool. But like, there's that video of him. He's doing some sort of speech and he's explaining, you know, like throughout his career, he's challenged people, you know, like when he was dressed as a businessman and he suggested building like a mosque in the middle of like a redneck area, and someone like stood up and just blatantly was like, no, I'm Islamophobic, sort of thing. And it's like conspiracies and like people who are just so against equality are so like mainstream now, and it's awful. And he's definitely showing that through his films, like on a serious side, but at the same time it's entertaining as fuck.
Definitely a lot more in the second film, I think.
Yeah, I loved when he dressed up as Trump and like Pence was just staring at him like, what the fuck is going on?
I got a girl for you. I got a girl for you.
I think it's good entertainment. I think it's quite different from, obviously it's quite different from the first one, because this one is more of like a storyline where Borat is a character, rather than the first one where you kind of are like, it's a guy pranking people.
Yeah, this one had an obvious storyline that they were following, and that's why you could tell it was so scripted, I guess, eh?
Yeah.
This one was also really political though, right?
Yeah, I enjoyed that though.
Yeah.
I mean, they fucking got Giuliani, and I'm very glad about that, because, you know, Rudy Giuliani, that's Trump's
that dude?
lawyer, who started touching himself, and my fucking bet is that Sasha was in the next room, saw him doing the thing he was doing, which we'll get into, and like sprinted in and was like, no, you know, that's when
She's
it needed
15.
to interrupt it. Yeah. Fuck it.
What about you, Freddie?
I enjoyed it. Not as much as the first one, like you guys said. It's definitely more of a, like Anna said, it's more like of a story this time around, like with the daughter and everything, and it has like a more of a, like beginning, middle, and an end sort of thing, more than the first one. The first one is sort of like a series of like gags.
Yeah, and there's just a story formed around the gags more than anything, whereas it's the other way around this time, I think, eh?
Yeah, and I think they were shooting this, and then like the pandemic happened like in the middle of it, so they had to like rewrite, scramble, and be like, hey, what do we do now, sort of thing. Yeah, I do think the first one, it just feels more like you can tell that there's more like editing and stuff going on in this one, which is why some segments feel a bit more scripted than the first time around. When they're just sort of like...
It feels more authentic. The first one definitely feels more authentic.
Yeah, because they just sort of like let the camera roll and he just gets into these situations. And now it's more like editing, and you can kind of tell that they might have played with a bit of audio here and there and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't really have the same sort of like shock value as the first one. Which I think is what made the first one so good. Because when you saw that, you had never seen anything like it, sort of thing.
Yeah, it was a one of a kind. It's like, oh my god, this guy did this. Whereas this time it's like, oh, he did that again, or like, oh, it's funny, but like we've seen that before.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I agree with what you guys said. I thought that Maria Bakalova, she was so good, and she like kept up with Sasha all the way. Yeah, I think it's like
she didn't back down, eh?
No, like well impressive, and. Isn't like Sasha pushing for her to get like an Oscar nomination? I think he said.
Probably.
Oh, she fucking better, right?
I mean, in the year that Hubie Halloween is the most watched show, anything could happen.
I fucking hate that.
Yeah, me too. It's so fucking annoying.
I can't believe that, eh? That's so nuts.
It's just like
it's so fucking shit.
Every time he drops a movie, it's like the most watched. It's insane.
Unlike our episode. Can we talk about favourite scenes?
Yeah, go on. What's your favourite scene, Shadow?
So my favourite scene was actually when it's not a scene, but it's a whole sequence, and it was when over lockdown and they were in the hillbilly's house.
Yeah.
I fucking love that. It was so funny how he was just acting stupid to like all the shit that they were talking about. It was so fucking good.
You know that was all real. That wasn't staged.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean, I'm assuming it was anyway, but yeah, it was so good. And then he went out and sung that fucking song as well.
That was so funny. I'm surprised he didn't get fucking shot.
Yeah,
he almost did. You know, did you see the video of him having to run out and hide in his truck because people?
Yeah.
No,
he had a bulletproof
fucking
vest on.
Americans.
Wait, what happened?
So what happened is, obviously they cut it from the movie. They cut it up differently, but there's a clip on Sasha's Instagram, like an extended cut where there's another rally happening for, I think, Black Lives Matter, like around the corner, and these people stormed this thing that he was at and tried to like get on stage and get him, basically. So he had an escape car waiting, or an escape truck, and he runs and gets in, closes the door, and then people are like clawing the door and trying to open it up, and he's like, drive.
Jesus.
It's crazy. Nuts. But he had a bulletproof vest on. That's the only thing he had a bulletproof vest on for, just in case.
That's amazing.
Well, they're American, so that's kind of like... I personally don't think I'll ever go to America. It doesn't matter who's in charge, except maybe like AOC. But I don't think I'll ever go there, just because it's such a risk. Because there's so many of them are so unstable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What was your favourite scene, Freddie?
The scene that definitely I got like the biggest reaction from me was when they are at the fine dining thing and they do the dance. That was
That was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, that was so uncomfortable. That's like the one that sticks out the most, because it's been a while since I saw it now.
Gross. I was eating when I was watching that.
So was I. I didn't eat the rest of it.
It was awful, but it would have been so uncomfortable standing there,
Yeah.
Like those people just didn't want to make a fuss. They just sort of like, all right, trying to keep it formal.
What about you guys?
Go on, Anna.
There was, I don't know, I didn't really understand at first. I didn't understand the approach to this second film. Like, I'd heard it was more scripted. I'd heard it's a different, like it's different the way they've gone about making the second one. And so I wasn't expecting it to be as chaotic, I guess, as the first one, where it is all just kind of out on a whim. But I reckon I quite liked the kind of the scenes with the woman who'd been babysitting Maria's character.
Yeah.
And like is trying to explain the real world to her, because no joke, there's fucking people like that who just think, obviously there's countries that run like that, but there's also people out there who think like that. And to see
shout out
someone,
to North Korea.
she definitely kind of kickstarted the character arc for his daughter. Where she's realizing, like, you can see her face like sitting in like the place.
Outside in the car.
The
$70 short thing was so fucking good. When he was short by $70.
Oh yeah. No, but when she goes in and she's sitting with him, because we didn't have subtitles on, but I can kind of pick up on what they're saying. Obviously, like, he's trying to be like, no, get the surgery, because then, the Americans will want you, sort of thing. But in her head, she's very much like, like, oh damn, like, no one's going to accept me the way I am, sort of thing. And like, that's a whole like big thing that's happened this year, especially with like women's rights movements that I've been like keeping up with. And I thought that was a cool inclusion of her like changing her mind.
Yeah.
But I very much wish there was like another animal in this film, like how the last film they had the bear. I think that was really cute.
Well, they had a monkey.
I mean, yeah, but it wasn't
got
like
eaten.
The monkey was not ever really in the film.
I saw a photo.
I think it would have been cool.
Oh, actually, yes, I do know. And this is going to sound controversial. Don't take it too seriously what I'm saying here. But when he dresses up as Trump and he has to figure out a way to get into this conference, he disguises himself as a Ku Klux Klan member and runs through.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I loved that so much.
The fucking reactions of people that don't even care.
They didn't give a shit, and it was great. I was like, yes. That was so funny. When he's running through that rally, or to go disguise himself, he's disguising himself to disguise himself. But when he ran through as a KKK member, I pissed myself. That was so funny. I just respect the fact that he ran in and then he got escorted, but he didn't like drop character. He's like, what's in it, Preston? I got a girl for you. And I love that was done in February, and nobody knew it was him until the trailer came out, and they're like, oh, that was that was Sacha Baron Cohen at that thing when they dropped in the teaser trailer for Borat. I was like, yes, I love those kind of things.
I mean, because people wouldn't have really realised, unless it was him walking around the street like he actually was.
Yeah, the only time people started talking about Borat 2 was when people spotted him, in his car driving around, like a couple months ago. People were like, oh, Borat's out filming. He must be doing something, because like he had a car attached to a trailer and was being shot by cameras in the other vehicle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could only imagine how good it would be seeing Sacha Baron Cohen dressed up as Borat driving around. That'd be so fucking good.
Well, he got good press for it. That's how he promoted his movie. He created lots of social media.
Yeah, that was crazy TikTok, though, right? Because Instagram, no one,
all the YouTubers with him.
This movie popped up really late in terms of like no one knew about it until like maybe a month or two before it dropped.
Oh, that's why they had so much social media push.
It was cool, yeah, it was cool. But it was so weird. I've never seen any other movie ever do that.
Well, this kind of movie has to do that.
I
guess,
there's
definitely been a few movies like that have like suddenly just been like, hey, here's our movie. Yeah. I like the video. I think I saw it on Sasha's Instagram when he went to what's his name, David Dobrik, and he crashed his like ice cream truck into his Tesla.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Oh, you'll be fine. It's your fault for buying a cheap car." I thought that was fucking funny. And he went into David's house and like broke all of his shit. And it was like, machine. Oh, it'll be fine. Yes.
He crashed into his Tesla. Like, this is what you get when you buy a cheap car. And he's like, this costs $100,000. He's like, what? This car costs more than $300. That's expensive. I was listening to David's podcast and he was saying how Sasha kept up his character the whole time and he only broke it when he was like, asking, oh, do you want me to like do that again, or was that funny? Should I do it another way? Like he wasn't like thinking he was top shit. He was like asking for critiques and stuff and making sure he was actually doing the bits right, which is really nice. He's not like a top shit celebrity thinks, I'm the man, I'll do what I want, I think I'm funny. He was like making sure he was doing well for David's video, which that's awesome.
I really liked the end with Tom Hanks in Australia.
Oh, that was great.
And it turns out that like he gave him COVID.
Yeah, I think that whole thing about that U-turn in the script where at the start of the movie he was injected with the bat flu and then he fucking went around the whole fucking world with all this.
That's how we got COVID.
Yeah, on the what is it, the fucking the ship. He was going to all these countries. Like at the time, I thought that was a funny gag on its own, but then when it was actually part of the whole thing, it was like, that's so fucking genius.
I thought they just were like dragging it out, being like, oh haha, the boat's gone to China, it's gone the wrong way, and then I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah. I think it was so clever how they rewrote that.
Do that in the middle of a like we're in the middle of it still, and they
well, not for us anymore. We're pretty lack, but the rest of the world,
yeah. I remember you saying, Freddie, that they like had some. Yeah, it was a big risky move at the end, and when that happened, I was like, oh my god, that's nuts.
It's so good.
Think that was clever with Tom Hanks.
I love risk like
clearly
that.
Green screen, but like it was a funny little gag.
All right,
should we break into our areas?
Oh yeah. Oh, I've got a hard one. I don't even know what to talk about. Yeah, but in terms of direction for this film, it's kind of hard to talk about since most of it was kind of just not point and shoot, but it was planned out to be like a lot of YouTube pranks. A lot of the entertainment actually comes off a reaction of unsuspecting people.
Yeah.
So I think there were still characters in there that did have some direction. Like, is it Maria? Yeah, Maria would have had direction as well. I don't know if that would have come more from Borat. I mean, more from Sasha, or more from imagine Borat directing a film.
Yes.
I don't know if that would have come more from Sasha or the actual director himself. But I think if it was more from the director, then it's a big props to him because of how well she actually blended in with the whole project. Obviously, he worked closely with Sasha to deliver the kind of film that Sasha was intending from the get-go. And I think that way that they kind of work with each other is incredible. I don't know if there's any other actors in the film apart from them two. It's kind of hard to tell.
There's plenty of actors. They're more just people that have been told what's going on and they might be able to give a reaction. They're not necessarily actors that get put on the, the script credits.
So, so that in that situation makes it kind of hard. In terms of direction, I think that's the main thing I can look at and talk about because I'm guessing most of it was probably improv on the spot, kind of like...
He was a director for, like, a few episodes of, like... I think he did an episode of New Girl. and he's done like other comedy, like Parks and Rec, which a lot of that is
Oh,
improv.
okay. So he likes to kind of work with this kind of stuff.
Well, I guess it
Yeah.
would be kind of like documentary directing.
Yeah, I get. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's the way you look at it, right? It's more close to documentary than anything else.
And it's
Mockumentary.
not.
Yeah.
It's not the same director who did the first Borat. It's another guy.
So Jason Walliner looks to do a lot of. They look almost like kind of rip-off films.
Spoofs.
Kind of spoof, yeah. I don't know if.
Parody.
Yeah, maybe not. Actually, I can't tell.
I mean,
It
that
does-
might be
there's
a
a
reason
film
this
called
film isn't as good as the first one, because maybe
Dangerously
the director
Delicious.
isn't as skilled as
That's one of his.
at
films.
handling this kind of stuff as the first one.
Yeah, but I still think that for like what I could see from the directing, like the clear direction in terms of Maria's character.
Mm.
There is a lot of work that obviously went into that, so I've got to give him props for that. But apart from that, it's really kind of hard to pick it apart.
He directed two
especially-
episodes of What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Hey.
wow.
See, I think the thing is, this film has really funny scenes, but coherently, they're kind of weird together.
Mm.
It does feel like a really long YouTube video.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
I
like
agree
multiple
with that.
YouTube
That's
videos
really
stitched
good.
together.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So,
YouTube
it wasn't...
compilation.
Yeah, almost like that. Like, you've got a playlist on YouTube of one creator you're watching, and these are just all of the videos.
Like
that
and
you've seen.
subscribe to Borat.
You should. I mean, Borat would smash it on YouTube, so maybe you could think about doing that.
He's
But,
smashing it on the TikTok, and the Instagram.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yes, I like.
So yeah, honestly, I think overall he did a good enough job for what he was handed, but I think most of that praise comes from how good Maria was.
I'll go next. I'm itching to say something.
Oh.
Well, I don't really have much to say about the camera work, honestly, because a lot of it was obviously shot from lots of different cameras, lots of different people, just like blending in. I saw a bit of during the rally. I was keeping close eye on like if I could spot the different cameramen, because obviously they shot that from a shit ton of angles. You know, someone up the front, someone up the back, other people interviewing. They got away with a lot of big cameras because they were disguising themselves as news reporters. I'm also just a nerd, so I can tell what's being filmed on what. Like there was the bathroom scene when he's in the toilet with Maria. And they've got a GoPro attached to the urinals or above the urinals, and you can tell that that's clearly been staged, because also some guy comes in and they blur his face. But then at the rally they also, and in when he was running through the lobby as a Ku Klux Klan member, things were just shot on iPhones. They were just shooting them on phones from their hips and stuff, because it's easy enough to get away with that kind of stuff. It's the least suspecting than bringing a big ass camera into somewhere to film.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, at the church scene, you can see the cameras there, but it looks like they're just filming for the church.
Yeah, and like at the when they were filming the Hillbillies during the Rona period, I was
He
listening
didn't break
to
character for 5 days.
Yeah.
yeah. Did you listen to that
crazy.
interview as well?
No, I was just looking on IMDb.
Because he that was obviously not staged. These guys just thought this guy was doing a documentary. These guys were
Yeah.
following this guy around. He was doing a documentary because he didn't know much about coronavirus in America, and these Americans are obviously stupid, so they fell for it. But
Holy shit.
they knew they were on camera. I heard in an interview that from Sasha that because he would obviously go into his room, and that's when he would break character, he'd, like lock the door, and he had his a fake suitcase where he had his laptop and his glasses and his phone hidden underneath everything that he'd be able to pull out and write notes and send things off to people and shit like that. And he just got out of it and was being Sasha, and then they knocked on the door and wanted to come and see him, and he like had to quickly throw everything back and like put on a towel and his wig and be like, yes, 1 second, 1 moment, and all they wanted to ask was if he was okay, and settled in properly.
Oh.
They definitely hid cameras well, and they had a fuck ton to work with, so well done to them and the camera department. Who's next? What do you think,
Okay.
Freddie, from a actor's perspective?
acting,
That's probably the biggest part of this film.
Well, like we just said, the fact that like he stayed in character for 5 days is just like insane.
Dedication.
There's few people who are as dedicated as Sasha. It's like he could be like an undercover agent, like if he wanted to, he's that good.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that him but I think that like we've said, like Maria Bakalova, his daughter, Tutar, is like the standout of the film. She gives such a good performance, and I think that's also because like they give her more to do. Like she's just an easier character to connect with than Borat, because Borat is just there for like the laughs in this one, and she actually has like an arc to her character, which is why I think she comes out as like looking better, sort of thing. By then,
yeah, she has a lot more emotion.
Yeah.
She's not just stupid.
No,
she has emotion. I think she has sadness and happiness.
I think including her in like the story in the film was like genius move.
100%.
Yeah, and then like I mean, like most of these people that they interact with aren't actors. Like I saw that I think Sasha has donated $100,000 to the babysitter because she made like $3,000. And she was like, oh, I felt kind of like used because I didn't know that this was like a comedy. I thought they were doing a documentary about this girl who had grown up in that other society, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, I thought that was really nice of him to do that, eh?
Yeah. And I guess like, and also I think that because the first Borat film is like, it's just sort of Sasha and then all these people, and he just sort of like them dig their own graves because they just keep talking and saying the most dumbest things. But in this film, like when he goes
many lawsuits in the first one.
Yeah, but in this film, like when he goes to the two like rednecks and lives with them for 5 days, I know that like the intent is sort of like, oh, let's look at these dumb guys, let's make fun of them. But like they invited him to their house, and then when he sort of talks about, oh yeah, women can't do that and women can't do this, and they're like, no, that's not how it is. Like, so you're like,
yeah.
He like humanizes.
It's very
these
2020.
people. Yeah. Even though, I mean, they obviously have very different views from, I guess, everyone on this podcast, but you still see that they're like, oh, well, they're actually not completely, like, complete idiots. They do have...
Well, you know, the thing that points out to me is that stereotypes are stupid.
Yeah.
And people that believe solely in stereotypes, they're not much better than the people who they are accusing of dumb things because of those stereotypes.
For sure.
There are 14 members of the cast that are credited. 9 of them are unknown, and then there's Sasha, Maria, Tom Hanks, Rita Wilson, and then the director...
So Tom Hanks was in it?
Yeah.
No, but he
As
wasn't. Was he
himself.
green screened or was he actually in it?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, he was green screened. Like, no, the background was green screen, and he was green screen, and Sasha next to him was green screen, but he obviously knew what he was doing.
Yeah, right.
And the director was also in that scene with Tom Hanks. He was a bystander. He has cameos in the background next to Tom Hanks.
I'm interested to know if that scene where she came out of the crate was scripted or not, because that guy seemed way too chill when he was hammering her back in the cage.
Well, we'll get into it after Anna, but I have a whole list of what I think was unscripted scenes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Miss Anna Florence, what do you think?
So, yeah, it was written by 8 people, most of whom, including Sasha, most of whom have worked on, like, Bruno and Dictator and, like, you know, his other projects like that. So they're all quite familiar with the process of writing with it. But yes, I thought it was quite well written. Obviously, there is a lot when it comes to improvisation where you can't script it. You have to kind of just be like, I guess, explore the options, particularly when going to stuff like fucking Trump rallies and anywhere else where it's legitimately a life-threatening situation where people are kind of like, okay, you can say, you know, stuff along the lines of this, and if the situation starts to escalate, go this way and do this thing. I thought the scripted stuff, particularly obviously the stuff between like him and his daughter, that was scripted. I thought it was very well done. Like, it was enough that it was something new, but at the same time, it's original Borat saying super sexist and
offensive,
like horrible things. Unless it was talking to women, he wasn't like, you know, racist or anything towards people of colour, anything like that, which would have definitely been crossing a line, particularly with America. I thought the way that he moved around that was, he was like almost there, but he was quite safe when doing that and when talking to certain like official people.
Well, yeah,
he was very safe.
He has a
Yeah.
firm control over what he's doing. Yeah,
Oh
the
yeah,
feeling of that.
definitely does.
Yeah, and he understands
Like-
how far is too far as well, which is good.
Yeah.
Mm.
In the first film, he clearly, this is a complete contrast to the second film as far as you just talk about racism. There wasn't like any racism in this one, and not that he was being racist in the first one, but when he goes to the black guys and is asking them how to act, and then he goes in and like mocks them or pretends to be like them in the hotel. It's super funny, but he wouldn't be able to get away with that nowadays. Like, he clearly says the N-word in front of these hotel people in the first one.
Well,
Oh yeah.
Like,
I guess
he
the
wouldn't
first
be able
one
to do
is
that
very
these days. He would just
No.
get
racist
killed
towards
There's a lot of
Jews.
or
films-
beaten
But I mean,
up.
Sacha Baron Cohen is
There's
a
a lot
Jew
of
as well,
films
so he
that-
can joke about that.
Well, this one still has it, right?
Yeah.
Like when he goes and talks to the two Jews in the church, and he's
Where's
like,
your nose and your ears?
and he's dressed up like them, and he's like, "Don't touch me!"
It was
God
pretty funny.
damn. So yeah.
Maria is speaking fluent.
What?
I think someone just crashed their car outside.
Oh, sick. Who cares?
Anyway, so she's fluently speaking Bulgarian. It's her native language.
Oh, really?
Even though the Kazakh premier is played by a Romanian actor whose lines are in Romanian.
Yeah.
Wait, so there's no actual.
No, Borat
I'm pretty
speaks
sure
like
Bill-
Hebrew.
He's speaking Hebrew, yeah.
with Azmat.
Azamat.
They seemingly kind of just understand each other.
That's so
And I think
fucking funny.
It's an unspoken part of the gag because obviously not everyone's gonna listen to it and be like, they're speaking different languages. They're just
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
assume, oh, they're speaking fucking Russian or something.
And they
Yeah.
put subtitles
They're
on
not.
anyway, so...
As most others in the film, told it was a serious documentary and had no idea about the characters that they were playing. They were just like, oh, there's a strange people who are gonna come in and I'm gonna like talk to them and react to them and that sort of stuff. I don't have too much to say about the writing in this film because there's a more solid storyline but still is impromptu. I know that when they obviously feared that things could go too far, they had ways of getting around it. Like they could just bolt from wherever they were going. They would just run
They
to
had an
like
escape
safety
car ready.
van. Yeah, and like with Giuliani, Sasha was like monitoring it. He was in the next room, and if Giuliani was going to obviously try to sexually assault Maria, then he was ready to like go in character and just like cut it off.
Yeah, he was in a wardrobe.
I'm glad he did because it was going very far. And
He
it was
picked out the
quite
hotel room and everything. He's
freaky.
like, I'm going to have
Yeah.
him set this up here. Or he had cameras and everything set up. He set up
Yeah,
that
yeah.
room and prepped for this.
Oh, definitely. But I just mean like without breaking character and like coming out and being like, we're filming this thing, he was able to like stop Giuliani from being more of a pervert than he is.
Yeah, that was a really intense scene, actually. I felt really on edge the whole time, how uncomfortable
Oh, yeah.
it was. But it
Definitely.
worked.
Yeah, and they fucking got him, and now he's having to like go through court and stuff.
I'm going to go through a list of unscripted scenes that I wrote
Have you
down.
got them, or do you think?
No, this is my list. This is what I personally think
Oh,
was
okay, good.
unscripted and was, completely on the fly. Looking back at some of them now, I probably know that they aren't scripted. Oh, that they are. Some of them are, but we'll go through them anyway. When he's walking around the street
Not scripted, yeah.
as Borat and people are running around after him, not scripted.
Not
Yeah.
scripted. That's definitely not scripted.
Yeah. When this was a hit or miss one. I'm not entirely sure how scripted this was,
Yeah.
but when he was buying a phone and he airplays porn to the TV, and the guy's like helping him set it up. Yeah,
I feel like that's
like-
gotta be right.
I feel like that was
I thought
definitely
that-
fake. Not fake. I feel like that happened.
I think
You think
because
that
as a
happened?
retail assistant, you do the craziest shit. Hey, honestly, you have to put
Yeah,
up the most
yeah.
wildest things. I've had to clear porn off someone's computer before, and you just go along with it.
yeah. I think it's a matter of like
shit.
similar to obviously like the babysitter stuff. They're like told there's a camera crew coming in, they're doing a documentary. There's going to be a weird guy there, but just roll with it. And
Yeah,
I think that's what he did.
that's
Wow.
probably going to be the case with a lot of
And they
these.
didn't go to the toilet with a phone.
That was kind of freaking funny. The doctor scene.
Yeah,
the
that was
doctor
real.
or the
Oh,
Christian
with the
church guy.
baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I put the baby in my daughter. I feel like he
Yeah,
was
that was
shocked.
real.
He's like, you keep calling her your daughter. Like, is she your
No,
actual...
yeah, I think that was real, right?
Yeah, his
Yeah.
reaction was priceless. That was so
definitely.
funny.
I love
when
the way
so
that he like
Yeah.
made things seem a lot worse than they were just by his choice of language.
I put the
so
baby inside my
fucking-
daughter.
Yeah,
he
but
just put a
also
freaking
when
toy figurine.
yeah, well, but
Yeah.
there's other points as well where he does the same thing, and it's so fucking funny. I think that's just the whole like Borat character, though, right? It's just misunderstanding.
Over dramatizes everything. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and misunderstanding what he actually means.
Yeah. So in line with the baby thing, that what I was saying earlier about when they had a GoPro mounted in the bathroom, that's when they were pushing the baby out into the urinal, and she was like going into the toilet, and she squatted above the toilet seat trying to push it out, and people would just hear it as they walked in. Like, push the baby out, push the baby out.
And
Yeah.
then he comes out.
Flush
and
it away.
Flush the baby.
Yeah.
I don't know what scene this was from, but how much is my daughter worth? When he's asking someone, what was that part?
that was
Oh,
at the father-daughter dance scene.
Oh yeah, and he's
that
asking the old
creepy
people.
old man.
Yeah,
quite
and then
all that.
his daughter's like, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole fertility dance as well. That was clearly
Oh, that was so
fake.
good.
Oh, not fake. What do you call it? That was
Not
clearly
legit.
not scripted.
Unscripted. Yeah.
Yeah. See, earlier in the and earlier on in my notes, I wrote the faxing, but then at the end I wrote faxing. Never mind, because
What?
Yeah, it was
What?
it was probably just like the retail scene when this guy was probably just told to go along with this guy faxing
I thought
a
that-
whole shit ton of stuff. You know,
Yeah.
it was just
I'm
went on for
quite-
so long.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised that he didn't recognize him. Like, even if you didn't even if maybe you hadn't seen Borat, I feel like it's common knowledge that he's a character and this is what he looks like. That's like
Well, I
his
thought
thing.
the
Well, I don't know, I
fight
mean,
scenes felt
A lot of people still miss
scripted.
things.
Because like in the middle of it, like the TV just switches on, and it's like, oh my god, they like women.
Yeah.
Like,
They were,
does
I
it
think they were
progress the
scripted,
story?
yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, exactly. For that part, exactly, yeah.
The whole stuff with the babysitter was clearly not scripted. The whole swimming in my boobs thing, when she's like, you don't need the surgery. They're not going to help you float.
Yeah.
If anything, I mean, I don't know. I don't have boobs. Wouldn't they weigh you down more?
There's only one person here that could answer that for you.
Yes.
Yes.
There you go. There's your
Probably.
answer,
I don't know.
Jacob.
Woman, when she's at that conference, this is another thing I think was unscripted. When she went to the women's conference and was talking about masturbating and orgasms and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, she seemed really innocent, and the ladies were like, "Oh, like, that's really sweet." But
I
like,
love that Karen's
fuck off.
reaction to it. Yeah, that Karen who was like, they showed for like the last 10 or
Someone
15
called her
seconds
an
of it,
Uber.
and she just kept nodding her head and like rolling her eyes and shit.
Yeah.
She said, and we're so
Disgusting
happy you're
things.
here.
That's the last of my notes, but obviously the last unscripted scenes were Rudy's interview and the song at the rally. Anna, did you have some fun facts before we wrap up and give our ratings?
I did have a couple.
Yes.
So Sasha spent nearly 5 hours at the Conservative political conference where Pence was speaking. So he went in as a KKK member like way before, and then just waited, and then
In
got
the
into
toilet.
the Trump makeup and everything, and that's when he went out.
Yes. 5 hours is a long time to dedicate.
What were you
to
saying
that,
about
mate.
security?
He had to wait because obviously they're going to do security sweeps because he's like a fancy person over there. Not anymore, obviously, but you know he was a big name, and they were like, got to protect the vice president. Blah blah blah.
What's not checking every single room?
I assume they just did like an overall sweep of the place. I mean, they wanted to make sure it was safe and
Yeah.
there wasn't like any threats sort of thing. With the militia was antagonizing the Black Lives Matter protesters, a group sent protesters undercover, and they were the first to realize that it was Cohen on stage as Country Steve, his character. And word got out, and the crowd attempted to storm the stage. And according to Cohen, one person reached for their handgun.
Yeah.
Wait, so
That's
they
how
actually
it-
wanted to kill Sacha Baron Cohen?
Yeah.
Knowing
Since
it was
he
him.
had since he had hired security, he was safely able to get off the stage, and that's when they had to go
In the
and
truck.
hide in the production
Why
vehicle.
would they want to kill Sacha Baron Cohen, though?
Because they're American and they hate fun things.
Yeah, that's fun. In the interview, he mentioned that. He's like, they tried to bowl through security, but the thing is, I hired the security, so they were prepared.
It's so good.
For the Holocaust survivor, whose name is Judith Dim Evans, Sacha Baron Cohen actually let her know about the joke being filmed with Borat.
Nice.
Fair enough.
That's good
Which
of
I
him.
think that's nice because I don't know how she would react.
It could have been PTSD
Having
for her.
someone.
Yeah, it would have been pretty hardcore.
It's actually, the film is dedicated to her because she passed away shortly after filming.
Yeah, I saw that in the credits, right?
I didn't see that. That's really nice.
So, near the end, when Borat confirms that Kazakhstan now exports boys instead of girls, there's which I noticed it right away, but there's a little box.
Sorry, that was me.
There's a little box showing boys crammed in tuxedos, and the thing is addressed to Kay Spacey in the US.
Oh
and
my
I
god.
laughed so hard at that. I thought that was
I
hilarious.
didn't even notice that. That's
and
so funny.
horrible. Yeah.
Cheeky.
Um,
So cheeky.
Last fun fact is the scene where Borat takes a look at his boss's dashboard and him and Maria figure out that they were used to spread COVID around the world is inspired by the scene from The Usual Suspects from 1995.
Oh, yeah.
Which is just kind of coming together in my own brain.
Yeah,
Sounds
that's
good.
good.
Shall we get into ratings? Overall, I enjoyed it. I think anything Sasha does is brilliant, whether it be stuff like Borat and Bruno and Grimsby and stuff, or it be kind of more serious roles and cameos and other stuff.
Yeah.
I think he's just always entertaining, and he's always, in real life, he's always such a sweet guy. I definitely think this is one of my favourite films of his. I don't think it tops the first one, because the original is always going to be most people's favourite. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I definitely want to watch it again, particularly if I get really drunk and watch it again.
Okay.
And I'm going to... let's actually do that. I am going to give it a 7 female sacrifices to Mike Pence out of 10.
I really enjoyed this film. It was great. Like Anna said, and we're probably all going to say, didn't top the first one, but still had a great laugh. Definitely some amazing moments, and I would recommend this to anybody to watch if you can handle, some heavy, dark humour, and you don't mind a bit of controversy. I'm going to give this 8 KKK costumes out of 10. And also, just before I wrap up, I just looked at the bottom of the cast, and there's a deleted scene where Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr. make an appearance with his daughter meeting them at a press conference, but they cut it out.
Oh my god. There's got to be footage released of that
It's
somewhere.
probably on Amazon.
Yeah, deleted scenes have been released somewhere,
You
so I'm
usually
sure it is
watch, like,
somewhere.
extras and stuff.
Because people
Oh,
are talking
maybe.
about it.
I don't think this was as funny or as like tight as the first film, but like we said, like Maria was really good in it. Sasha is always good. It has a lot of funny moments. I don't think there was any moment where because I remember, well, it could have been my age, but when I saw the first film 14 years ago, like me and my friend saw it at his place, and we were literally like rolling on the floor by the time like they were running naked in the hotel. This film didn't really have a moment like that. Like, I got a couple of chuckles out of it, a few cringe moments, but I didn't really like belly laugh
Children.
at any point in it. So yeah, I mean, it's on Amazon.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to like, check out. You don't have to like go out to see it in a theater. I think this sits pretty perfectly on a streaming service. I think I would have been disappointed had I gone like paid for this. I think maybe. So I'm gonna give it a 6. Jak Sie Masz out of 10.
Very nice. Right, Sheldon, you'll go.
I might surprise some of you guys with this. Yeah, I actually enjoyed this film, and I'm not gonna be like a broken record, but obviously the first was a bit better. But then again, the first was amazing, so it's pretty hard to top that. Honestly, I think this film had its moments. It had a lot of charm, and like I said before, if it kind of felt like a playlist on YouTube from a YouTube prankster who just like put all of his YouTube videos back to back on playlists, and then I was just watching through all the different gags, which was interesting. It was a bit less coherent, even though it had a more coherent story structure, which is really interesting. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think it did its job. Of course, Maria was fantastic in it. Sasha also did a fantastic job. So it'll be interesting to see what he comes up with next. So I'm actually going to give the film 7.5 very nice out of 10.
Great success.
I just remembered one fun fact. And I'm pretty sure it's in Estonian. Tuta's name translates to daughter. Her name is literally daughter.
It's like
In
Darth
Estonian?
Vader.
Here's another fun fact. Her name in Swedish translates to tits.
Wow.
Oh, that's the best fact of the night.
I wonder
Fuck,
what
love
one they
that.
went for.
Oh, maybe that's why he wanted
Maybe.
to have the operation, so she could have.
Oh,
yeah,
true.
she was
Tits.
just gonna peer pressure him in the whole fucking time.
It's in your name. It is your name.
So that's it for this week's episode. Thank you everyone so much for listening.
If you have any other films that you'd like us to have a check out and review, be it an old one or a new one, leave us a message on Instagram or a YouTube comment, and we'll take those into consideration to check out next time on the podcast.
You can find us on Instagram at Filmocity Podcast, on Twitter at Filmocity Pod. And you can listen to us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else that you like to listen to your usual podcasts. Also, we're taking a vote to kick Shaden off the podcast, so let us know about that.
I only need one vote. As always, we upload every single Thursday, apart from that one time at 7 p.m. New Zealand time. So make sure
Stop bringing it back.
So make sure you check your notifications on any of those apps that Anna listed before, and you'll be able to find us. So thank you for watching, and a big
I knew
thanks.
you'd say that. I knew you'd freaking say that.
Oh fuck. So thanks for listening.
Every time.
Shut up. So thanks for listening, and from
Heyo.
everyone here at the Filmocity podcast, bye.
See you later. Great success. Ciao.
The
Very
Hulk,
nice.
the Incredible
Alright,
Hulk was
yes.
the best MCU film.
Shaden, shut the
The
fuck up.
2003 one, eh?
No,
Shut up.
Edward Norton.
No.
I like Green Hulk.
Goodbye,
extra Green
everybody.
Hulk.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Ciao. Nice.
Okay,
Great
cool.
success.